Welcome to Better Not.
On this week's episode, we're talking about gravy. We're talking about boiled peanuts. And we're talking about water pressure.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Dun, dun, dun.
Wow. Welcome.
You're already recording.
Welcome to Better Not. I'm Will.
I'm Zach.
And this is the show where two coworkers kind of bet beers on topics they can kind of Google the answer for.
Kinda.
What? We're talking about something that's always been curious to me.
It's always been curious about you.
It's always been curious. It's been thinking about me.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Okay.
I've always been curious about it.
All right. Well,
Do you ever just sit back and wonder what's going on underground?
yeah.
I think about this all the time. So our water supply, right? Where does it come from? Where does it go? Where does it come from? Cotton Eye Joe. I always think about it's just so weird. All the infrastructure that supports the city, supports the town. It's just really interesting. So we're talking about water pressure today.
Right. And, when I was a kid, one of our field trips was to the city sewage plant. And
cool.
I feel like I would have learned this, but maybe it's just something that they don't teach.
Okay.
So yeah, I went and toured it. They talk about how they clean all the toilet paper out of the water. They showed us all the different filtration stages that it goes through and stuff. How to test the water. They never talked about water pressure and how it gets back to the house.
Yeah.
They just talk about how it gets to them, I guess. Or not even how it gets to them, just that it's there.
Yeah.
Side note, I bought a drill.
What does that have to do with the water pressure?
It has I said side note.
Okay. You're allowed to go any direction when you say side note.
So I'm building my shed, and I know we had a whole episode on this about how I hate the battery charge things.
Okay.
But I went to Home Depot the other day and I bought a battery charge drill.
Dude.
Because I have a major project that I'm working on. Okay, and the reason why I bought it was because my corded drill doesn't have the tint. When you overscrew something, it can damage your bit if you don't have that. I don't need ratcheting thing, whatever that ratcheting thing is. And I didn't want to just go buy 100 bits, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy this drill. And it was $40 off. It was on clearance.
Okay.
It's a Ryobi or whatever.
Yeah.
Came with two charger packs.
Okay.
They charge in 30 minutes.
Okay.
So far, I've been very impressed with it.
Okay.
It works great.
I think modern drill technology is pretty good nowadays.
Yeah.
Anything you get is pretty good.
And I guess what's cool about it also is that those batteries can connect to other Ryobi.
That when a system does that, it's really smart.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
Not that I'm going to buy anything else that's battery charged, but it's nice that if I do,
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's get back to the water.
I still love my gyro drill.
Yeah, that thing's really freaking cool.
I use it all the time. I built the shelves in there with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Well, water pressure. So, okay, so you did a field trip. I'm trying to think if I did any public works or public space field trips. I know I did the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Oh, that's cool.
We went down there.
Do you get to go in a spaceship?
Not a real one. You got to see them.
Mm-hmm.
They had a retired one there.
Okay.
And then you got to do some simulators and stuff.
Okay.
But I don't think we ever did a public works one, a public facilities one that, which actually would have been extremely, that would have been really good. I feel like California education is so much different than Georgia education.
Well, yeah, because you got to actually be a certified teacher or whatever.
You need a license in Georgia, I think.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I mean more so in our curriculum. Did you learn a lot about U.S. history?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all 8th grade is U.S. history.
Okay. Did you learn Civil War and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think. I feel like there's a lot of hands-on and agricultural stuff out here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We learned nothing about agriculture.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I specifically had a ag class in college that was just about how the California feeds most of the world.
Yeah.
That's all the class was on.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
We didn't have a class on how Georgia makes all the cotton. We should have.
Yeah.
Should have.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh, Georgia's huge with cotton, peanuts.
Boiled peanuts.
Boiled peanuts.
I had those boiled peanuts. They're so freaking good.
Yes.
Coworker brought them to work. He was telling me about it. And I don't know if I told you this or not. He gave me a cup full and he said to split them with you. And I ate them all.
That's fine.
Because I come into work an hour before you do.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I will for sure. I go back there and I just kept eating them and eating them and eating them.
Yeah.
They're so salty and delicious.
Yes. So a lot of people out here don't know what they are. And it's just like salty boiled peanuts.
Yeah, I had no idea. So they come in the shell.
Okay.
And when I asked Brian about it, I was like, so do I eat the shell? He's like, oh no, you don't eat the shell. I'm like, well, why do they leave the shell on him?
To encapsulate it? I don't know. Roast it in there? Yeah. Dude, and we had this debate the other day, but it's called, or I guess it's not a debate, but in Georgia, it's boiled peanuts.
Boiled peanuts, yeah.
And a lot of times like when you're on like super backcountry backwoods roads, they'll spell it that way. Like
really?
Phonetically, boiled peanuts.
That's funny. Now, if you were to oil something in Georgia, would they say oil?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They'll say oil.
Like, I need to go get my oil changed.
I need to get my oil changed. What would you say? My oil changed?
Yeah.
Hey, I need to get my oil changed.
No, I definitely don't talk like that.
Okay.
I'd say I need to go get my oil changed.
You said oil.
Oil. Yeah, I guess I kind of do, huh?
Yeah.
Get my oil changed.
That southern slur drawl, it's pretty attractive. I think people are attracted to that southern drawl.
Oh my god.
And I think that's why. So Savannah was telling me that doesn't.
Is that why you married your wife?
She doesn't have an accent. I know you think she does, but that's why. Well, but Savannah said she stopped saying y'all.
Oh, okay.
And I intentionally continue to say y'all.
To annoy me.
Like y'all need to do something.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
I don't try to flaunt an accent. I don't really have that much of an accent, but I do intentionally say y'all.
So my wife watches.
It's more efficient.
Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
And
V-Pump Rules.
They were doing the reunion show the other day, and one of the girls that's like been born and raised in California said y'all, and I thought, this is so freaking ridiculous.
So
when she said that, I was just like,
I think there's a lot of like people in this area, which is more rural, that say y'all.
I can think of like on one hand how many people say y'all.
I know a few
that I know.
I know a few. I think it's because it's rural. There's a lot of like cowboys in this area, and they try to embrace that culture. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean?
Do you say ain't too? I've never heard you say ain't.
I ain't fixing to do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't say ain't.
But you say fixin'.
Do I say fixin'? I was fixing to do. Yeah, I do. I think I do say fixin'. Do you not say fixin'?
No.
If you were about to do something, what would you say?
I'm about to go do this.
I was fixing to do this thing. I do say fixin'.
I would say I was gonna do this, or I'm gonna do this.
I was gonna do this thing. I was fixing to do this thing. I think I do. I don't say it all the time, but I think I do say fixin'. Wow. Okay, I'm a little more southern than I thought I was. Oh gosh. No, I love my southern roots for sure.
By the way, can you get me some of that fried chicken? No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, what? So when we stopped by Cracker Barrel recently down in Santa Maria.
I want to go with you there.
We need to do.
Maybe we could do a podcast.
We need to do a podcast.
All
Get
right.
permission to shoot there and whatnot. But
you said they give you gravy with every
you
meal,
get like a bucket of gravy.
Bucket.
I mean, it's just a lot of gravy.
Oh, okay.
You get
you just ruined it for me. I was like, a bucket?
So, yeah, everything's delicious. It's all buttered and smothered, and it's amazing. Covered. That's Waffles.
Butter smothered and covered.
But, so you get biscuits, You always get gravy on the side.
Okay.
Which actually, why would you order biscuits and gravy there when they always bring it out? Interesting.
Do they have that on the menu?
Yeah.
Oh.
For the Cracker Barrel goers. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. Oh yeah, you get a biscuit, you get the gravy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And then you get the chicken fried steak.
Okay. I've never had chicken fried steak.
So good.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I don't know what it is. It just does not appeal to me. I'd rather have a steak.
It's we need to go together.
Yeah.
We need to go together. It's delicious. It's delicious. Oh my gosh, I really want it right now. It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
There's another place in Santa Maria that I saw the other day that's a barbecue place, and man, it looked so freaking good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wish I would have wrote down the name of it.
Well, when you think about the South, you think about like barbecue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're considering San Luis Obispo County, there's a lot of like barbecue here.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's a rural thing. Like when you
Barbecue?
go to LA, you're not getting barbecue. When you go to San Francisco, you're
Yeah.
not getting barbecue.
Yeah, I guess not.
It's like a rural thing.
Yeah, because if you were to go to LA and get a steak, it'd probably be like
expensive.
pan-seared or something.
Yeah.
Rather than, like Santa Maria style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never
really thought about that.
You should think about that more.
My mouth's already watering. I need to think about it.
You need to think about that more. Okay. Water pressure.
All right.
I've thought about this. I really do like, I'm just so curious. Like sometimes like as kind of middle class white people, you forget about how the world works. Like, is that a good preface?
Middle cat, you forget. Okay, I don't know if you can link the two of those together, but sure.
When you're a middle class white person, there's just
so you think high class white people think about these things? Is that what you're saying?
I think
or low class. Who thinks about these things? Because you're classifying us as middle class, and because we're middle class, we don't think of these things. So what class thinks of these things?
I think when I say middle class white person, I mean like average Joe Schmo. That's what this podcast is all about. We're just really average people.
I think the real thing is people that don't work in the water industry don't think about it, or don't think about the process of it. They just.
So instead of just middle class white people, it's all people.
all people that don't work in the water industry.
Okay. Well, I think middle class white people specifically don't think about it. Anyways.
Oh my gosh, this is how America has gone. Is like, because you don't do this, you're a middle class, or that's like.
No, I think about all the time like middle class white. Like that's how I grew up. That's who I am.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel like you want to fight that, right? Like you want to fight against that.
It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. No, a lot of stuff has nothing to do with being middle class white people.
I know. It's just like, that's just who we are.
But we're labeled as that.
I know. Labels suck, don't they?
They do suck. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think about it all the time. I feel like everyone talking about like Karen and stuff. Karen's like it's a middle class white woman kind of ideal. Like,
okay.
Like, okay, Karen, go home.
What?
Kind of thing. It's like a meme right now. Is that
a thing?
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
But so when like people say that kind of stuff, it's more so like you just kind of, it's middle of the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing unique.
I don't know. But then that being said, I would think that people that work in the water industry, they are middle class people. Like that's
interesting. Okay. Yeah, probably for sure.
So is it just, okay. I'm not even going to try to keep thinking
I'm not saying like a political statement right now. I'm saying more so like when you think of like, I mean, we're not suburban right now. We're not even near a city.
Right.
Like, but when I think about Atlanta, right? Like I lived in the suburbs of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Even though it was like a podunk kind of on this outskirts of suburban life.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't think about where your water was coming from.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the same mentality out here, even though this is way more rural.
Mm-hmm.
But you've talked to me a lot about this, about buying property
for water rights.
For water rights in specifically Atascadero, where certain places are on the city water and certain places are on well water.
Right.
which goes to show like how much we're in rural America.
Right.
You know, like
I'd love to have property that was on water.
yeah.
I mean, that's the way to go. You don't pay for your water. It's completely freaking free.
Mhm.
And when you're in city water, you're getting water that's been treated.
Mhm.
You know, it's not pure whatsoever.
Our water is hard water.
It's very high in calcium.
And it has crazy chlorine in it.
Oh,
you
really?
smell our water, it
Smells
smells like chlorine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other benefit with well water is because you're not paying for it. Well, I guess the downside to city water is what it really is they can control whatever price they want.
Yeah.
I got a thing the other day in the mail saying they were going to go up another, I don't know how much. It ended up being like $5 a month.
Morro Bay raised it like $20.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, it just sucks. Like you have to have water, and where else are you going to get water to shower from?
Yeah.
You can't build, or I mean, maybe you could put a well in your backyard if you just didn't tell anybody, but.
But didn't you say a well drill is like $50,000 or something?
Yeah, it's very expensive. So yeah, usually when you buy property, you want a well already on it, and then, like over in Morro Bay now, it's the meter thing. When you buy a house, you want it to have that meter because the meter costs $20,000 or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, water pressure.
But see, this is the thing is like I as like just rural Atlantean or like
Atlantean. Is that what they call him?
Atlantean. I don't know. I can't remember. Actually, I think it is like Atlantean or.
That's pretty cool.
No, but anyways, as like suburban and stuff, like I don't think about that. I was like, you just buy a house, but then you're like, make sure it has a well or make sure it's on water. Yeah. Because if it doesn't have either,
you have no water at the
exactly. But that's a big thing in Osos, right? Los Osos, like they just got city water.
Oh, really?
Didn't they? There's like a crazy thing about Los Osos. You got to make sure that you have water.
I know Cambria too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out there.
Because they didn't have a water treatment plant, and they just opened a water treatment plant over there. You know how many years Cambria has been around, and they don't have a freaking water treatment plant?
That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
And but even Morro Bay, like they raised their prices because they just got like a crazy new plant.
Yeah.
And like, what have they been doing like for this long?
I have no idea.
And Morro Bay water is disgusting.
Is it?
Slow water is not good, and Atascadero water.
It's good, but it's got a lot of freaking calcium in it. Like my shower head, I clean it probably once a week just to scrape off the calcium.
I should probably do that here. We just got a new faucet here.
Oh, yeah.
That had died from calcium. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We took it to the store to Home Depot, and they were like, yeah, this is completely shot.
Yeah.
From calcium.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, our water smells like chlorine. So Savannah's dad sent us this, the Berkey water filter. Right. I think I've talked about that on the show before. It's way better. So much better.
Yeah.
But again, I'm worried it doesn't have fluoride in it. So,
right.
But I think I'm getting that from my toothpaste.
That's why your teeth are going bad.
No, I think I get it from my toothpaste. No, that's the episode. We were wondering what episode we talked about water. It was fluoride.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay. So, this is a lot of preface to say, where the crap does water... Like, how does it get to us?
Right. So I think what they do is they find the highest point. Did I already say this on this episode, or did we cover this on the last?
I don't think you said this on this episode.
Okay. So I think they find the highest point in the town.
Okay.
They put a massive holding tank up there.
Okay.
And they pump water up to it. It stores a massive amount of water so the city doesn't run out when everybody's taking a shower all at once. The gravity pushes it down into the houses.
Okay. Now... I think that's a more, I think we've talked about suburban, urban, and rural, where we're at, lifestyle. I think that's more of a rural thing. Okay. And I think that is the thing. I think you're right.
I think you're right about it being rural because, like, you think of those, like, houses in the country, like in the old TV shows, and they used to have that big water tank. Yeah. You know, they would pump it up there, and I think that was basically like a mini system of what the city runs off of.
Yeah, and a lot of towns, when you're driving through Georgia, have those towers, and they put their town name on the side of it. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And it probably needs a smaller pump to pump it up there slowly.
Right.
And then it drains fast.
Massively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's probably like a pump that can work all day.
Right.
It's a very low power pump.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I'm curious about. And I'll say that, like, I just don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to take like the side of anything but what you're saying.
Okay.
But I say that this is a hard bet for both of us. We might just have to just crack our own beers this episode.
Sure.
But I'm super curious. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah.
When you have a city infrastructure, like this is like, how does a city infrastructure work? Right? You have skyscrapers and all this stuff. Like I bet a skyscraper has their own pump, right? But my building right here, rural, does not have its own pump.
No, you don't have your own pump.
So how does my water get up to the second floor?
Because you are lower than the tank.
So I know for sure there's a tank up on Madonna, the Cal Poly Hill.
Okay.
I've seen a water tank up there, but is that just for there?
That's for, who knows? It could be for the whole city.
But it's not that big. That's the
I
thing.
mean, you're seeing it from far away. It could be freaking huge.
No, I've been up. I've seen these. That's the thing is like I've seen these things up close too. Like there's one on these hills, South Hills, in Slow, and it's big, but it's like that couldn't cover the entire city. So there's got to be a pump or something, right?
I mean, there's an initial pump that's taking it from the water treatment plant
but
to
then,
the holding tank.
Well, but then think about this. What about like the reservoir? Like there's Whale Rock Reservoir for our town.
I don't think is that for Slow?
I don't know.
I thought that was just an extra, like a holding tank for water so that they don't just have it going everywhere.
How does water move?
Like it's all like it's all gravity.
Yeah,
It starts from a low or a high point and goes down low.
And you know, like when you have like two cups, like, and you put a tube between them,
yeah,
it'll like drain. It'll go up and then down.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of stuff happens?
That's the vacuum that I was saying. Maybe maybe it's actually pulling it rather than pushing it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, well, I'm basically taking the stance that it's not what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, but in rural areas, I think you're for sure right. But I think when you start getting into the suburb and when you start getting into city, I don't know. All right, well, let's look it up. This is a weird episode, but it's going to be good. All right, so we look it up. All right, and I think this is something I know I've always wanted to know this. This is a weird episode. I know. It's not really a bet, I guess.
Bet against myself, I guess.
Well, yeah. Because I didn't really know what I should say. But I think you're right, though.
Really?
Okay, so there's 5 key stages in our municipal water system. That's the correct name for it. There's the water source, underground aquifers that are the source of our water supply, fed by rain and melting snow.
Okay, that would be a well.
Well, California, yeah. That would be a well. And melting snow, which would be how LA gets its water, right? Like, don't they funnel all that water down there?
Yeah, they get water from like Lake Arrowhead and all that. I guess that's San Bernardino. I don't know if they have you ever driven over the Grapevine?
Yeah.
You know how they've got those big things on the right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like big tubes. They're trucking water from the Central Valley over there.
Yeah.
So they get a lot of their water that way too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's number 1. Water distribution systems are the pipes and pumps that deliver clean water to our taps. Wastewater collection systems, the pipes that pump away our used water from our toilets, bathtubs, and laundry. They are called sewers. And this is talking about a specific location, but it's saying like there's tons of miles of wastewater collection pipes. And then there's wastewater treatment, which is the process to remove contaminants from our wastewater so that it can be returned to the environment. And then there's stormwater systems, the pipes, ditches, and natural systems that channel our rainwater and snowmelt away from our homes and businesses back into the natural environment.
Which I think would be like the reservoir, right?
Mm-hmm. So where does our water come from? 100% of our water feeds into our municipal system from underground aquifers. Okay, well, this is talking about this specific...
That's the initial how they get the water.
This is talking about this specific town. Okay, this says there's 6 stages.
Did you just look up what... did you look up what makes water pressure?
No, I didn't exactly. I looked up...
well, that's the bet.
I looked up water system, and I looked up how water pumps work.
Okay. Pressure is created by a difference of altitudes or height. Water pressure for home or factory use is created by a water tower or a pump and pressure tanks. Almost every town and city has a water tower, usually high on a hill, and it's a large reservoir that holds, or a large reservoir or tank that holds the water supply. That's it. I won.
Okay. So even a reservoir can be
if it's high
a
enough.
water tower.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So like you said Lake Arrowhead for LA.
Yeah.
So this giant lake that's way above LA is what keeps the pressure for the town.
I don't
Well,
know.
and pumps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure when it leaves Lake Arrowhead, there's probably a treatment facility that they treat it and then it goes down to LA. That's
Okay.
what I would assume.
Okay. Well, I think you did win this. Actually, I mean, that's actually pretty impressive that a water tower and or a reservoir is causing the pressure
Yeah.
for every town. Like it's at, what did it say, 90%?
It didn't say any percent.
I thought it said a percentage, or like most. It did say most towns.
Almost every town and
Almost
city
every
has
town.
a water tower.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
I think you did win. This is such fascinating. My article was obviously not in the right direction, but I want to hear more about that. You won this.
Sweet.
Let's pull out one of my beers.
All right. I'm glad that I won because the beer that I brought is a IPA and I really didn't want it.
Let's go to Beer Corner.
Beer corner!
I'm reaching down in the beer chest and I'm pulling out.
Shine. Gosh,
Shine.
that is ridiculously simple.
I know. I was like, oh, that's some interesting branding. Church label.
Doesn't it look like a church
Yeah,
logo
I guess
or
so.
something?
Hey, come to Shine Church. It's
Yeah.
just a giant thing of gold. And it just says Shine.
Label of gold.
Label of gold.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also from Alvarado.
See, I think all of those beers were from Alvarado.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
It's not a big thing of Alvarado.
Probably is.
I don't know. I don't think so.
You'll have to look next time you go.
That's true. Okay, West
Tell
Coast.
Brian we said hi too.
Oh, shoot. This is a double IPA.
No. Actually, no. Doubles I like better than regular. They're
What about
usually
triples?
less happy. Hoppy.
They're less happy. I'm less happy about them. Okay, well, let's do it. Here, this is your beer.
All right.
Crack that. Crack it. Delicious. Pour me off a piece of that beer, beer, beer. You mixed it with the last beer. That's yummy. We're looking at a nice, clear beer. It definitely looks just like that golden hue,
Yeah.
which tricked
Does this
me.
say anything on it at all?
No. It tricked me because I thought it was going to be like a blonde or something. I didn't read what it was going to be.
This says 8.3% alcohol, West Coast.
8.3?
Yeah.
What are we doing right now?
Alvarado Brewing Company. I mean, there is nothing on here that says anything. I don't like these cans.
I know. Maybe
They're
I should get more local beers.
Hey, get whatever you want, but I want to know something about it.
I want to know something.
Maybe
All
we
right.
could Google. Let me
Let's
Google
it.
the-
Google Alvarado Beer Company or whatever it is. Beer.
Okay, so it's out of there's Monterey and Salinas.
All right.
There's nothing even on their freaking website. There's some pictures.
It's like their label.
It doesn't say anything about them whatsoever.
That's so weird. Some ambiguous
Uh,
beer company.
Events, our team, careers, charitable contribute, press, contact. Should I contact them?
Hey, we're a podcast about beer and betting.
Here's something. What's new? There's nothing on here. It doesn't even say like anything about them whatsoever. Like who owns the place? You know, what do they do? How'd they start? About. There we go. Our mission. We're committed to first and frontmost equality. Food and beer is what we're most passionate about. And this drives us to put out everything we have into creating a memorable drinking and dining experience. As a family-owned and operated business, we are extremely proud to be part of Monterey community. Let's see here. Our story building. Oh, okay. So their building was made in 1916 for the Monterey Elks Club, which occupied the upper level and Strand Theater below with 2 stores. The Elks outgrew their location in 1964, and it became the Monterey Chess Club.
Okay.
Until 2003.
Hmm.
And then, let's see, it was a theater until 2005. And then the building was purchased by the Hill family in 2013. And they did a remodel, became the Alvarado Street Brewery and Grill. And that's about it.
Okay.
Cool.
And that's the beer. Let's
now
try
we know.
it.
So they're about the history of their building.
All right. Worthless information from them.
I don't know why my nose is like running now.
Let's try this beer.
All right.
Cheers.
Toast.
Oh.
It's thick. It's heavy. Or not heavy. Strong.
That's an IPA.
Very strong. It's like the mouthfeel. It tastes a little slimy. Or thick and slimy.
And dry.
Dry.
Dry, thick, slimy, and dry. That's like the dodgeball. Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge.
Yeah.
Shoot. That is a really heavy IPA.
Well, I think you should lay off the Alvarado Brewing Company for a while.
I just grabbed those beers. I didn't even know. Okay. I should have looked at the label a little bit better. I saw shine and I said, that's a beautiful blonde ale. That's what I thought.
Yeah, why would you name a double IPA Shine?
This is a informational for all of the breweries out there. I'm looking at you, my YouTubers. I'm pointing straight at you. Stop making IPAs. Please.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I approve this message.
None of our listeners do.
Yeah, I know.
I get comments all the time like, hey, I like
You
IPAs.
should like IPAs.
IPAs are great.
Yeah.
You know what I have to say about that?
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Yep.
So, okay, I will sip on this beer the rest of this show.
Yeah.
Okay, water pressured. So you're right about it being all about the bass. That bass, super bass.
All about that bass. Got that bass. No trouble.
Okay, so do you have any more information about the reservoirs and the elevation and stuff?
I don't, but I think what's interesting to me is how they regulate the pressure.
Okay.
Because there's got to be a lot of weight behind that tank that's pushing the water. So I wonder like exactly where they regulate it, because I know when we bought our house, that's one of the things that they do on the water inspection is they test the pressure to make sure that it's not too high or too low.
Okay.
And I think it's supposed to be 60 pounds or 60 PSI, because if it's over that, it can like break your pipes or whatever, or cause leaks. And I haven't told you this, but I decided the other day, because we have a third hookup for our sprinklers that's not hooked up. I'm going to we've been growing our garden, right?
Yeah.
And so I go over there every night and I water everything. I decided that I'm going to hook up my third sprinkler system, and I'm going to have it hooked up to a drip line.
Okay.
So I was kind of looking at it, and they had it hooked up before. I don't know, for some reason they took it off. I don't know why. And it's got a pressure regulator on it, and it regulates the pressure down to 30 PSI. And that's so it, those little fittings and stuff, like they don't break and get messed up, because I guess 60 like will blow them off and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my next big project after I finish the shed, is to install a drip system.
Is that just what happens? Is like when you get a house, you do these incredible, crazy projects that just take all your time?
I think so. I was actually thinking probably 10 years from now, I bet you I will probably be the best handyman that you could have.
Yeah. I feel like my dad became that too, because he's always done like projects on their house.
Yeah. Well, if you fix just random things, eventually you'll know a little bit of everything. You know, like if I was to go to you and be like, hey, what size piping do I need for this? Or, you know, what how do I install a water thing? You'd have no idea, right?
Yeah.
So if I have the knowledge and you came to me, you'd probably pay me to do it, right?
Yeah.
So
my dad he finished the basement in like all the houses he's ever bought.
that's cool.
And then like he's painted his own car. He does all the car work on those BMWs that we used to have. Crazy.
It's legit.
I think if you just like have that mentality that you can do anything or that nothing is impossible, like that to work on, like I can figure that out. I feel like that's what's passed on to me. Like I feel like I can do that.
You gotta figure like when my wife was asking me about building the shed, and she was like, you know, I can't believe you know how to do this. And I'm thinking in my head, literally those guys that build houses, they're all methed out. Like most construction workers, they just do meth and drink on the job site. That's very, I'm stereotyping hardcore right now.
I mean,
but it's
when
pretty
you walk
typical.
through a house, there's beer cans everywhere.
It's pretty typical.
Something's happening.
So if some guy that's strung out on meth can build a house, I can build a shed. You know,
you can do it.
That's my mindset.
That's a good mindset.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about water pressure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
The other thing I was going to say, sorry, before we get to that, is now with YouTube, you can look up anything and figure out how to fix anything.
Yes.
So I feel like nowadays, like it's more the height of laziness if you don't want to do it, rather than just like investing your time into figuring out how to do it.
And time is money. So like some stuff.
Oh yeah, it might be cheaper, or it might be better for you to just work an extra couple hours and then have somebody else do it, you know?
Well, and some stuff like takes some skill, you know, like higher end skill. Well, I don't know. I feel like when I learn and do something, I'm doing it for the first or the second time.
Yeah.
And it's not as good as it would be if somebody's done it a million times.
Maybe if you're going to tile your shower or something, you might get the tiles crooked.
Yeah, there you go. They
might not be even.
Something that's going to be permanent.
Yeah.
Maybe should be done by somebody else.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good one. Tiling. Yeah, for sure. What's something else? Yeah. Anyways.
Wallpaper.
Wallpaper you can redo.
Have you ever tried to take wallpaper off the wall?
I've never had a place with wallpaper.
It is the worst. But trust me.
Let's get into water pressure.
All right.
All right. Okay, so this is from hunker.com, which I've never heard of that place. Okay, and it reiterates, almost every town and city has a water tower, usually high on a hill. It's a large reservoir that holds water, obviously. And the height of the tank determines the amount of pressure that the water supply will have. The general rule of thumb is every 2.3 feet of height is a pressure of 1 pound.
Oh, interesting.
In a 1-inch pipe.
Okay.
So 1 pound per 1-inch pipe. Water pressure is described in pounds per square inch, PSI, which isn't that what air pressure is too?
Mm-hmm. That's everything. They do that with like air conditioners on your roof. They'll figure out how much your roof can hold based on the PSI.
Okay. As an example, a water tower is 240 feet tall. The water pressure at the base of the tower would be approximately 100 PSI. Of course, this type of water pressure would burst every pipe in your home. So a water pressure regulator must be installed at every water meter.
Oh, so it's on the meter. Okay.
So there's a regulator.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We get a constant pressure from whatever tower we have.
And then each house has a regulator.
That's interesting. A water pressure regulator adjusts the amount of pressure entering your home by a large spring and rubber diaphragm. These two components will only allow so much pressure into your home piping system. The pressure regulator will generally sit before the water meter, as most meters can only handle low pressures and will damage by the high pressure. A water pump with a pressure tank is used to bring up well water. Okay, so if you have well water, a water pump is bringing it up.
Yeah.
Water pump will pull or push the water from the well. The pressure tank holds a certain amount of water to be used. Inside the water tank, a rubber bladder that is filled with air to help keep the water system at a certain working pressure. So they fill it, so the pump is pumping air in a bladder that pushes against the water bladder.
Okay.
The air bladder is generally kept at a certain air pressure, like tires on your car or truck. Okay, so with that, let's jump over to our water systems, though. Wait, how do water pumps work? That's what I wanted to go to. Water. So like, okay, so like water, right? How does a pump work? Is it a fan? Is it a...
I think it's an impeller.
Okay. Water hits the rotating impeller.
Boom!
Wow, is that a mini bet you just won?
It should have been.
It should have been.
Do you know the difference between an impeller and a propeller?
Is it the rungs are backwards, like it's sucking rather than pushing?
No. So an impeller has a casing around it, and it directs,
It directs
it rather than just kind of free flow.
So it's more for liquid then.
Yeah. So like jet skis,
Yeah.
they have an impeller.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's important to know where your water comes from.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting to think that every city's using some sort of like elevated water system.
You know what's interesting is because we have family in Lake Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
Hershey's went up there, or Nestle's. I guess not Hershey's.
Mm-hmm.
Nestle, and Nestle water bottles or whatever.
Yeah, the most disgusting water on the face of the earth.
They go up there and they take not all the water. They take a massive amount of water out of Lake Arrowhead and they bottle it. Mm-hmm. And so there's like when you drive up there, there's signs in people's yards, stop Nestle, Nestle, because they're taking all the water. It's crazy.
Why is Arrowhead delicious and Nestle disgusting?
It's probably filtered different.
Nestle is my least favorite water.
I don't think I've ever had it.
You like don't support it kind of thing.
I don't buy water bottles.
I don't really either, but I think I've like had one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we do buy water bottles, like if we're going to go on a camping trip or whatever, I'll get Costco.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what that is, but
yeah. Well, I think it's super interesting to learn about our water system.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to know. It's the reservoir. It's the water tank. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So I know this is going to really make it even extended more. What creates the suction for toilets?
It's the same thing. It's water pressure. So the water is kept in the tank right behind it above, and it floods into it.
Oh, so it's pushing.
It's got a something keeping the water. It fills up.
Okay.
Right?
Well, what about sinks then?
That's the same thing. It just has water pressure and it comes out the sink.
No, when it goes in the drain.
It just drains it. It drains down. What do you mean?
How does it get back to the treatment plant?
It goes down the sewer lines.
So they're diverted down?
I think so.
Okay.
They probably have some sort of like lowering system.
Okay.
That goes to the sewers and the sewers go, yeah.
All right.
I think that's all downward.
Okay.
But the rest is water pressure. So
right.
Water pressure. But toilets, or at least typical toilets, are going to work with, that's why they have the holding tank behind it. Yeah. So that dumps that 5 gallons or whatever it has.
Same exact purpose.
It's like it's a mini water system right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to look that up. If we're wrong, write in.
Yeah.
Hit us up, write in. All right. Well, okay. It's really cool to learn about this water pressure. That's really awesome. I've always wanted to know.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. Let's do a little housekeeping before we get going. Guys, you found us on YouTube. Look at that. I see you right there. I see you. Thank you for being here. Hey. So if you're listening, definitely go find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe to this video. If you have any comments about it, that's the place to talk about it, is to head on over to YouTube, like and subscribe, and like this video. Talk about it in the comments. So you can also join us on Patreon for $5 a month. You can support this podcast. I'm dropping all of the videos of this show early on Patreon. If you're a patron subscriber, you're getting our videos early, where you can catch up and learn all about it. We're eventually going to be giving out merch on there. If we get a lot more listeners, we can try to start making merch. We're going to do some Hydro tokens one day. You can join the Hydro Ship team. And we just really appreciate it. Go find us on Instagram, Facebook, and email us at betternotpodcast@gmail.com with any bets or questions that you have that you just have always wanted to know.
Yeah, I'd love to get some listener bets.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel like, and we'll tell you, who's the bet came from.
Yeah.
And, I think it'd be fun.
I think it'd be really cool.
A little more
to have some
interactive.
listener bets. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. This is all just me and Zach just chatting away, like just curiosity.
Yeah.
It hasn't killed us yet. It hasn't killed the cat yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did kill the skunk, though.
It did. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace. Hey, what are we talking about next time, Zach?
Oh, on the last episode, or one of the last episodes of Beverly Hills, Dylan had given Kelly a gift for her wedding, and it was an endless flight around the world. And I want to know if that's true. Like, can you buy like a subscription, kind of like, like a gym membership? You can go as many times as you want. Or like different things like that you can subscribe to. Do they have that with flights?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like that movie pass.
Yeah, exactly. Like the movie pass. Do they have that with flights?
That would be really cool if they did.
Yeah, you just got to get your ticket ahead of time. Like just you fly to China and you're like, I'm going to stay in China for a while. And then you're like, oh, I'm done with China. So then you just go on, you put in your information, you get your ticket whenever one's available. And then you go on to the next place.
You better not let any of these airlines hear this thought. That's $1 million idea right there.
Is it?
I think it might be, because that would be really cool. Because you'd have to pay like 10 grand for that.
I mean, it's just like Disneyland. You can buy your subscription.
You'd have to pay somewhere like 5 to 10 grand for that.
Okay. Well, I'm marketing. I'm gonna what's it called when you put a reserve on it or whatever?
Copyright?
Yeah, I'm copywriting that right now.
Okay.
June 19th.
June 19th. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I don't think that exists.
Okay.
If you work for the airlines, you get those tickets, though.
Yeah. So I would think that, I don't know. I don't know.
What if they have like a credit card? Maybe they do.
I mean, they could do it, and maybe they have blackout dates, just like Disneyland.
I think you might be right. Well, I don't know. I'm going to go against that, but you think it is?
I don't know. Sure.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Next time.
Yeah.
On Better Not Podcast.
Yep. Cool.
All right. See ya.
Yep.
The Better Not Podcast is Will Cobb and Zach Freeman, produced by Cobblestone Productions. All the music you hear in the show is written by Will Cobb and mixed by Chad Mcilvenna. Thank you so much to Savannah, my wife, for singing on all the tracks that you hear. We post our episodes now on YouTube. Go head over there and subscribe to us and like our video. And don't forget to sign up for patreon.com/betternot and support us for $5 a month. It goes a long way for helping us out. Thank you so much for listening, and see you on the next one.